Okay, I think people might be coming into the room, please. Oh, yes, fantastic. Hello, Julia. All right, thank you for saying hello. I'm never sure if people are arriving or not, and I don't know if I'm talking to myself, so it's good. Oh, and Helen. Hello, Helen from Odessa. Cool. Okay, and from Kiev. Great, Alexandra. Cool. People are coming. People are coming more and more. Good, good, good. I'm pleased you're arriving. I know I'm not on my own. I'm here again, as usual, in my kitchen. Welcome, welcome back. It's a very small kitchen, actually. I hope there's plenty of room for you. There's not many chairs, so first come, first served. You have to find a seat. Oh, from school 98. Hey, Oksana. Hello. Yeah, it is sunny today, isn't it, in Kiev? Well, actually, just as you said that, I look out my window and clouds are gathering. Okay, it's been very rainy for the last few days. Okay. Oh, I hope you'll have a great time here. Well, who, me or you guys? Welcome to Chris's kitchen. Thanks, Gennady. Let's not look at the kitchen. Let's just look at me and like look at this thing behind me. It's real. It's not virtual. It means you cannot see any dirty dishes. All right. That's why it's here. Really, that's the real reason. Um, my kitchen is great. Thank you so much. No one has ever said that to me. I'm really touched. I'm really touched. Cool. Oh, people from all over the place turning up. This is really nice. We're going to start anyway. Oh, Kromnitsky as well. Good. Great. We're going to start in about 2 minutes. All right. You know, because the webinar is scheduled for three o'clock. So I just let you guys in and then we will begin on time at 3 o'clock. So let's just relax for a moment. Make yourself comfortable. Do you want to? Okay, let me see. Anyone for a cup of tea and some tea? I'm right by the kettle. You know, you thought I wasn't in my kitchen. I really am in the kitchen. I keep it out of shot, usually, to try to be professional. I try to be professional. Um, I do my best when I'm teaching here or webinars, it's the same. All right, 1 minute to go. 1 minute to go. Let's see. Oh, Khmelnytsky as well. Pin. Oh, not far away. Okay. Oh, places I haven't been to either. I need to visit some more places. And visit some more places other than my living room and my kitchen, right? And parts of Kiev still. Okay. I'll not exaggerate. A cup of coffee is better. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Oh, you're drinking tea now. Right. With milk. I hope you're drinking black tea with milk for your British friend. I was always surprised when I found no one really drinks tea with milk except British people. Oh, in India they do actually, but that's probably connected, right? I don't know. You do? Okay, good, good, Hannah. I'm good. I'm pleased to hear that. Uzhgorod is here too. Okay, and Kit. Okay, guys, it is now 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. So I guess. Sorry, I'm reading the last message here. I've enjoyed being here. Great. Okay. Anyway, I should start. Anyway, I should really start the webinar. Well, I'd love to chat for the rest of the next 45 minutes, but I should start what we're doing today. Okay. So welcome, guys. First of all, I know I probably know most of you. I've probably met you, or at least you've seen my webinars. But as usual, you know, I like to do a little tiny introduction at the beginning in case there's anyone new here. So if you know all this information, I'm sorry, but it'll only take a few seconds. First of all, my name is Chris Kirby. Okay, I have a little slide there today. I'm from the UK originally, but currently I live here in Kiev. I'm an academic consultant or methodologist, if you like, for DINternal education. And I also am a teacher still. I still work for the London School of English, which is the sister organization to DINternal here in Ukraine. Okay, so I teach lots of different levels, kids, adults, business English, exam classes, teachers too, do some teacher training. DINternal, if you don't know DINternal, my company today, well, they are an education company. They are the official partner, the exclusive partner of Pearson. That's why this is here in Ukraine. Okay, so we do lots of, you know, distribution of different materials provided by Pearson. We also do things like this. We do webinars. Before quarantine, I did lots of seminars, workshops, teacher training stuff, and helping people use different Pearson materials too. Okay, very quick intro. So I don't want to bore you too much with my personal details. But now, before we get started today, I need to give you some important information, okay? And the first piece of important information is about a new series of teacher training workshops, which are taking place very soon. And the one I'm going to tell you about today, as you can see on your screen, is about a basic sort of course for helping people with lesson planning. And on this course, you'll be learning about vocab, grammar, speaking, and writing, planning for lessons involving these areas, all right? The course is run by my friend and colleague here, who's here with us today, actually. He's helping me out. This is Gennady, as you can see. You've probably met Gennady before. And he'll be running this course starting on the 1st, if you could see the date there, all right? Please, 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 if you're interested in doing some professional development during this quarantine period, it is an online course. It'd be really useful to you. Please follow the link and find out some more information. Although, please, maybe take a photograph of the link and take a look at it later, because right now, listen to me, I'm going to do a webinar, all right? But please check that out later on the internal site. All right. Now, what are we doing today to introduce the series of webinars that we're involved in right now? Well, these webinars that we're doing at the moment are really thinking about you guys planning for the next academic year. Whether we're in quarantine or not, we've got a new year coming up, and for that, we need materials. Now, I'm sure you're all thinking about what you're going to use with your students, what books you're going to use, and what various materials you'll need to think about. The idea of this series of webinars is to give you a little tour, a little magical tour of all of the different Pearson titles that are available for you. Whatever you're teaching, whether it's adults or whether it's primary, whether it's teenagers, there's a webinar that you can see that will give you a little guided tour of the special features and the good stuff about these titles, okay? To make making the choice of what you need for the new academic year easier, I hope. All right, and that's what I'm going to be doing today on one particular title, which we'll get to in a moment. Before that, though, the good news, of course, there are special offers as usual. All right, and these special offers, though, are to help you choose a book too. So I hope when you see these special offers, you'll see how useful these titles are. Not one special offer, not two, but three special offers. The first one, of course, is a discount. So if now that you're at the webinar, if you stay in this webinar until the end, you will get a discount code for 25% off the title that I'm talking about, okay? That means you can get your own copy of the title and you can get a feel for the book, you can look at the materials, and you can decide if it would be a good choice for you to use with your students in the coming year. Okay, that's the first choice, the physical book. The second special offer is access to this online electronic library, I think we call it, called ePanel. If you don't know ePanel, it is an electronic library for Pearson titles for teaching. It's really, really useful. I use it myself. As I said, I'm teaching all the time, and now I'm at home. It's even more useful than ever because I can access lots of materials online, including the listening, including videos, and you can use this material on and offline because you can download it. Now, what we're offering, because you've come to this webinar, you could take a look at the title we're looking at today, which is RoadMap, as you can see, using ePanel for a month, okay? So, fantastic. Look at all the things available there, take a look, decide if it's a good product for you. And finally, magical offer number 3. We're going to give access for you to My English Lab. Now, My English Lab is the online learning platform for Pearson. It's got loads of stuff that your students can do on here, grammar exercises, listening exercises, vocab exercises, videos, all available as long as they have Wi-Fi, for example, as long as they have internet access, okay? And we're giving 60 days free trial of this to you lucky people for coming to this webinar, all right? So they are the 3 special offers. Please stay to the end for your 25% discount, and I'll tell you how to get that when I finish blah, 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 talking to you about books. All right, so here we go. Also, one more thing before we start the main part of the webinar today, there's a question and answer session. Okay, at the end of the webinar, I will be answering some of your questions, hopefully about the book. Okay, so some relevant questions, please. Yeah, if you have any questions during the session, just put them in the chat box, and at the end, we'll take a look and I'll try and answer some of them. So keep them easy as much as you can, and I'll do my best to answer at the end. Right, are we ready? I think we're ready now. I think that's the last piece of information. Let's see. Da-da-da, it is. All right, this is what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about this book, RoadMap, and the title of the webinar is Map Your Route Through the Course, and you'll see why as we get started. Now, first of all, I'd like to give you a little introduction or like overview to this title. So RoadMap, it's a really new title from Pearson. It originally came out last year. It's an adult course, suitable for maybe sort of private language school teachers, for university teachers, maybe for one-on-one teachers or people with private classes even. You could use this with adults or maybe older teenagers. It's an 8-level course, notice. If you notice, as you can see the levels here, we have the usual CEFR levels of like A2, B1, B2. But then we have some other levels in between too. So we've got like A2 plus, B1 plus, and B2 plus. What's that about? Well, it just gives you a higher resolution, you know, to where you can put your students. We often have a situation where I do placement testing for my school. And I often have a situation where I think, what level is this student? I mean, you could say, okay, they're kind of too strong for the A2 level, but could they go into a B1 level? And it's tricky. You have to decide to put them in one or the other. Well, with RoadMap, you have the A2 plus. So you have a perfect intermediate place for there to drop that student where they'd be much more comfortable and it'd be much more suitable to their needs. So it's a really nice feature. As you can see, all of those levels are available on the left of the screen, but there's also an A1 and an advanced C1 level books coming out, and they'll be available by the end of the year. Okay, that's my overview of RoadMap. Now we're going to get into a little more detail about it, and we'll be looking at some typical lessons and looking at some of the special features. Now, first question is, what's special about RoadMap? What can it do for me? Now, when I'm thinking about any particular title for any age or level, I always have to ask, what's difficult, what's challenging about teaching that level or that age group? Which is exactly what I did when I first opened RoadMap. I thought, teaching adults, what makes it challenging? All levels, all ages have their own special challenges, and adults are no exception. And if you think about this, what makes it challenging? Just look at the pictures and you'll get some kind of idea at what I'm getting at, okay? Because when I thought about this, I figured it was all about differences. You notice in those pictures, there was lots of different ages of people, for example. And this is true. When we teach a group of adults, we could have a class with an 18-year-old in it and a 45-year-old in it. I once taught a class with an 18-year-old being the youngest member of the class and a 70-year-old as the oldest member. There's a lot of variation there in what the students are like as people and as learners. So these people have different motivations, very different motivations, very different goals compared to our average like kids class or our average class of teenagers. There's always variety, but I think even more so with adults. Okay, some of them might be very, very serious. They might be wanting to, in the future, get an international certificate. Some of them are just doing it for fun as a hobby, and that's fine, right? So they have different motivations. This means they also have different attitudes to learning. As I said, some very serious, some much more relaxed and just doing it to meet people and to socialize. No problem at all with that. But it means there's different students. Okay, also, they have different responsibilities outside the class. This is very important. Adult students have jobs usually, and these take up a lot of their time and have to take priority. They might come to the class late. They might miss classes. Often no fault of their own. They just can't avoid it. They also have families. They might have kids to take care of or older parents to take care of, and this impinges on their life, affects their lives. The last one's kind of interesting, I think. Different life and learning experiences, all of them had different teachers and different style teachers. And with that experience, they bring different expectations to the class, and they have different needs from you as well. Different things they expect you to do as a teacher, and you have to adapt to that somehow. All right, so quite challenging. Teaching adults can be quite challenging. So what does RoadMap do for us? How can it help us with this if it's a specialist adult course? Well, there are three main areas I think that RoadMap excels in and can really help us teaching adults. The first one is flexibility. As you might have guessed from the last slide, I think flexibility when teaching adults is extremely important. We need to be able to change our approaches when necessary. The second thing is engagement. Now, okay, all students need engagement, but when we have adult students coming maybe directly from work, they're tired, we need to get them interested and we need to get them moving in the class. And I think RoadMap, as you'll see today, has a lot of positives on its side for getting students engaged in the lesson. The final one is ease of use. Okay, I'm not just talking about the students here, obviously, I'm talking about the teachers. And for us, I know we're busy people. You need to be able to open a book with minimum preparation and be able to give an effective lesson. And I believe with RoadMap, you can do that. Not only for you, but with the students, when the book is easy to use, it's easy for them to see where they're going, where their goal is, and how are they going to get there. So 3 points that I think make RoadMap quite special. Let's take a look in more detail anyway. The best place to start is at the contents pages. Don't worry if you can't see those clearly, it doesn't matter. I just want to draw attention to an important point, and we'll look at more detail in a moment. So, on the contents page, you can see there's actually 2 routes through RoadMap. Remember the title of the webinar today, to map your route through the course. That's because there's like 2 alternative ways you can travel through this book. There's something called the fast track route, and there's something called the extended route. And let's see how these work. So, the fast track route is the main core of the book. So this is like the main course that all the students should be doing. There's 8 units to the book, and then inside each unit, there's 4 lessons. You can see them there. We've got 1A to 1D for this first unit. The fast track route you could do completely by itself. Don't do the extended route if you like. You could just do this fast track route and it will take 80 to 100 hours, all right? And it provides your students with some important things. Look, it's based around grammar or functional language, vocabulary, pronunciation, and always a speaking goal. I find my adults always want to do some communication. They want some practical application. So RoadMap is very much centered on them moving towards being able to use the language in speaking. All right, and that's the main focus of the fast track route. But this might be enough for some students. But then we have other students, who need a little more challenge and they want more. Some students might be like, I'm fine with that. I just want to improve my speaking. I want to, get them the important grammar and the important things like a little bit of listening here and there, a little bit of reading. Some of them want to extend their skills a little more, and RoadMap accommodates them too. The extended route, as you can see, contains skills lessons. So for each unit, you have a lesson on reading, a lesson specifically on writing, and a lesson specifically on listening. And these can be used in a slightly different way. You could do the fast track route with the extended route completely, and therefore you'd have a much longer course, but totally comprehensive course, 100 to 140 hours. But maybe you don't want to do all of those lessons, and that's fine. Maybe you just decide that your students need a little bit more listening practice. So then you can choose the lesson you want. You do the main fast track route, and then you think, oh, I think I'll add a listening lesson next. They said they wanted to improve it. I said, okay, I'll see what I can do. In the past, you might have had to go and find some supplementary material, but if you're using this book, you can find the listening lesson, and it will be connected to the topics that they've been studying, and it's very useful, and they'll get something out of it. So 2 particular routes you can use: fast track, totally on its own, or you could use fast track and extended for a longer course, or you can use fast track with any of those lessons added in from the extended course that you want. Immediately, you can see there's a lot of flexibility available with RoadMap. Okay, so what else is there? Well, let's take a look at one of the units. We're going to start with the fast track route, and then I'll take you to some of the skills lessons a little later. Take a look at this unit from Unit 5, from this B1 level RoadMap. Notice that we have titles for each of the lessons, but we look at Unit 5. There's no unit topic. Now that's peculiar, isn't it? Usually there's like travel or food or jobs or something like that, right? RoadMap doesn't have that. Why though? Why would it not have that? Well, the thing is that each class, each lesson here can be done standalone. Yeah. So this means that if a student misses a lesson one day, or maybe they miss two lessons, and that because they're busy people, remember they're adults, they come back to the course, and often in a more traditional textbook, they're going to be a little confused because each lesson is so closely related. They're going to be confused and they're going to have to do a lot of catching up. With RoadMap, everyone can get something out of every lesson. So if they came back and they'd missed one or two lessons, it's fine. They will still gain a lot from the class that they come to. And because of that, each unit does not have a unit title, a unit topic as such. If you think about it, I think this is quite good from my perspective, from teaching English for a while, is that when we have one topic and the book stays on this topic for like 3 or 4 lessons, sometimes the students get bored of it. They're like, oh God, we're talking about holidays again. Okay, it's my experience. And I like the way RoadMap changes a little bit. So the topics are a little different and people can come back to them and we don't lose our students, I hope, because they don't feel a bit lost when they've missed a few lessons. But we do, of course, have those other students I talked about who come to every lesson. They want to be in the class every lesson. They don't want totally separate lessons. Aha, well, RoadMap's quite clever here too. If you take a look at Unit 5, look at the titles. We've got a lesson on appearance. We've got a lesson on where people live. We've got a lesson on what people eat. It's basically lifestyle, isn't it? So there is a link between these lessons. And what we can say is these sections are actually thematically linked. There is a similar theme, but each lesson in itself is standalone. So if a student misses lessons, they can come and enjoy any lesson they turn up for. So they're happy. If a student stays for every lesson and does the whole course without any absences, then they can enjoy it too, because they can see the connection between each lesson. So basically, I think you have the best of both worlds within this title and lots of flexibility. Something else to notice, when we look at these parts from a unit, we have part A to D. Now, D is a little bit special. It's a little different because it's a functional language lesson. So it's about using useful phrases. But parts A, B, and C, these 3 lessons, all follow the same structure. And we're going to take a look at how this works in a little more detail. So there is a typical lesson from 5C. It's a 2-page spread lesson. And you can see how it starts out. It starts out with very precise goals. The goal, if you look closely, is all about a communicative task. Like I said, a focus on speaking. The goal is to plan a special occasion. And then we've got the grammar that's covered, quantifiers, and we've got vocabulary describing food. And at the end, of course, the goal moves us towards a speaking target. And that's what happens towards the end of the lesson. On the way there, we have different things included. Now, vocabulary comes up first. After the vocab, we go to an input section, right? And in each one of these ABC lessons. And this would be a reading or a listening, where the students are exposed to the language. And then there's a grammar section related and integrated into that input. Then there's a little, actually, I didn't add, there's a little pronunciation section there, actually. But then we move, then we move to the speaking goal. So all of this is moving, preparing them with vocabulary, a little bit of language input, a little bit of grammar. Hopefully by the end of the lesson, they can use some language. That's the idea. Now, sorry, I skipped ahead a little bit there. My finger was nervous on the key, I think. All right. Now we're going to look at this a little more closely. So I want to look with you at the grammar. Sorry, the vocabulary in the first section. Now, the vocabulary, to work this out, we're working with language that is connected with food. Now, this is a little quiz for you, guys. Can you, in the chat box, complete these gaps for me? These are sentences on food, and we're looking for some adjectives to describe the food. Type in what you think this could be. I don't like food that much. I prefer snacks, salty things like crisps and nuts, anything. It's got to be an adjective. Not eating, I'm afraid. What do you think it could be? Anything. Okay, we got some answers. Sweet. Okay. Sweet food that much. I prefer, so what will be the second one? So, okay, we got the first one sweet. Let's take a look. So you got the idea, I think. Healthy junk food. All right, let's see what we got. Light. Ah, okay, yeah, for the second, for number two, I think you got it. I think you got it. Okay, let's see. They're the answers. And these are some of the adjectives that I've picked out that are given to the students in this spread. I don't like sweet food. You were right. Thanks for that answer. Unfortunately, there's no prize, but taking part counts. And I prefer savory snacks. You were right, salty fits, but savory is another adjective we can use to describe salty food. And exactly for light as well. Who was that? Okay, Yulia. Yes, I prefer to eat something light at night. I can't sleep well with a full stomach. Right, now you saw how you worked that out. Obviously, I have taken the text here, the exercises for the students, and I made it a little bit more difficult for you. I didn't give you any of the words. But if we look at what the students are given at the beginning of this spread, you can see they don't have gaps. They just have some sentences with the important words in bold. Now, the idea here is the students aren't just given the words and the words aren't described to them, but they can work out what these words mean by looking at the words in context. All right. So if you look at these sentences, you can guess the meaning sometimes. I'm sure the students will know some of these words. And the whole idea, if you look at the exercise, is that they work with their partner and they can help each other out. And the idea is they work out a lot of these words and they do some communicative tasks together, discussing if these sentences are true or false for themselves. So, very important. Vocabulary, the meaning has come from context, which hopefully helps the students remember a lot of these terms. So that's the vocabulary section, done in a communicative way. Now, what's next? Well, after working with the vocabulary a little bit, we go to language input, right? In this case, in this section, it's about reading. The reading is about what does eating well mean for you? So we talked earlier about engagement. Now, the topics in RoadMap are very modern. The book came out last year. The ideas are pretty new. But they also, what happens with titles like this is that we get disagreement in the classroom, which I love. It sounds terrible, but you know, I like when the students disagree with each other because it means that they talk more. And something like, what does healthy eating mean? Always has a bit of a controversial side to it. So I'm sure the students will disagree and have a great debate on this topic. But what we have when we look closely is basically kind of a web forum where people have given their opinions on what healthy eating means to them. We got 4 people giving their opinions on this topic. Now, what can we do with this text? Now, what you could do, of course, is tell the students, all right, read the text, answer the questions, and they'll do it really slowly, and you'll wait, and then you'll give them the answers. You could do that, but I don't like doing that with my students. To get them engaged, I like to do something called speed reading. Pretty simple idea. What I would do is get them to close the books for a while, and I would tell them who was student A and who was student B in pairs. I would say, okay, student A, you're going to read about Anna and Jan. Student B, you're going to read about Sam and Peter only. Okay, so student A is reading about the first 2 people, student B about the second 2. But you're only going to have a minute to do it. Okay, only a minute. When they've read it, so I say, open your books, read. They read. Then I say, close the books. And they've done it. Okay, then they have to try to remember everything and they share with their partner. So I turn a reading activity into much more engaging activity because they, for some reason, get excited about reading quickly. I don't know why, kids do too. They close the book, they find it kind of funny, but then I say, tell your partner what you read, and it becomes a communicative activity. They summarize the information. Now, what you can do after that, of course, is ask them some questions and see if they can answer the questions from memory. They could just give answers, or you could put them in teams, okay, and get them to give their answers in a competition. A quick fire question. You ask the questions, becomes a listening activity, and they have to answer and score points. You know, I play lots of games with adults, so it's fine to do this. They still have fun. They've had a hard day at work, and this is a bit of fun in the class afterwards. In fact, we're going to try it out, guys. So I hope you're concentrating, because I'm going to show you text for 2 of the people on the screen. And I want you to read it and remember everything. Okay, so look at the screen now. I will show you the text for less than a minute because it's only going to be 2 people and you are great at English. And I want you to read and remember. There will be questions afterwards. Get ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Read. Okay, time's up. Time's up. I'm sure you read that. Most of you read that there, right? Okay, question time. I'm not going to hit you with 10 questions or something. It's just a demonstration today. But if you know the answer to this question, please write it in the chat box. Okay, get ready. Okay, question 1. Write the name of the person. Sam or Peter? Who doesn't eat eggs? Quickly, quickly. Sam or Peter? Who's going to be the winner? There is, oh, Anna. Anna is the winner. She wrote Sam. Anna, fantastic. You're the first person. I have no prize for you, as I said before, but thank you. I respect you a lot. Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, it was. Let's see, Sam. Now, question 2. There's only 2 questions. So, Anna, can you do it again? Or will it be someone else? Let's see. Next question. Who eats a lot of vegetables, Sam or Peter? Let's see. Oh, who said it first? Oh, I think it was Hannah. Okay, the answer is Sam. Okay, it was both with Sam. I know a lot of people wrote Peter, and I know you wrote Peter because you thought Sam was first, it would be Peter second, but I tricked you. I'm sorry. Okay, never mind. There's no prizes, as I said. But well done. Thank you for taking part. Okay, so just a quick game you can play with students. It's really engaging. It actually works with all levels. It's a bit of fun, but I find that it makes reading much more engaging. They can go back and read for more detail after this activity. Now, what happens next? Well, remember the goal, yeah? We were talking about planning a special occasion, yeah? And the special occasion they're talking about is planning like some kind of meal. Obviously, it's related to food, so there's going to be food involved. Take a look at these phrases. We've got some special types of phrases highlighted in purple there. What type of grammar are we talking about? Put it in the chat box. It's not a tense, by the way. What type of is? Anyone? Something's coming. Oh, so for like we've got oh yes, okay, quantify, yes, quantifiers, basically, yes. We're talking about quantifiers here today, guys, and that's the focus, if you remember, right from the beginning, from that goal, this is the grammar that we're going to focus on. Okay, so what I would do, we're not going to do this with you today because it takes a little bit of time, but what I would do with my students is I'd say, okay, go back to the text. They've identified we're talking about quantifiers. They know a little bit about them, and they've already read a text that has them in. Can you find all of the quantifiers in the text? So they've done the game with the text. They go back and they underline all of the quantifiers. Now, we're not going to do that today, but I did it myself, and this is what I found. Wow, okay. So look at all them. Basically, a lot of quantifiers. And these are all in the text. Remember, we haven't talked about the grammar yet, but the students have already read the text and they've been exposed to it. They're already reading about quantifiers the whole time. So now they're ready, I think, to look at the grammar in more detail. And what they have next, this is how it works. First of all, we have the grammar box. They have info on how these quantifiers really work and how we use them in context. Then there's a pronunciation section. Now, this is cool. The pronunciation section is specifically related to the grammar. So it's not individual words we're talking about here. It's how we produce sentences with these quantifiers and how it affects our pronunciation. It's quite an interesting way to present pronunciation, I think, and useful because it's integrated in. Then after that, of course, we have the control practice. We have a little bit of grammar practice where the students have some sentences with gaps and they have to add the quantifiers to the gaps, the correct quantifiers. So they're a little bit more confident. They've been exposed to the language. They've learned some information about it. They've now used it in a controlled way. What's next? Aha, well, we're getting close to the speaking activity now, where they have to, if you look at speak down there, they've got plan a dinner party, plan a child's birthday party, etc. But This is the goal, of course, that we're working towards, but we're not quite ready yet, are we? Because what they need before they do that is they need a model. They need to see how this can be done correctly. And to do that, they have a little bit of listening. So they're going to hear some people do this planning stage in a very interesting way. So what they also have connected to this is some comprehension questions related to the listening. Why? Well, it's preparation for the speaking, but it's also integrating a little bit of listening into the lesson too, making it lots of skills involved. We've had speaking, we've had reading, we've had grammar and vocabulary, pronunciation. Now we've got a little bit of listening too. And also I'm going to give you a little sample of this, not the whole listening, but just 2 of the questions to answer. So take a look at those questions and see if you can hear the answer in this conversation. First one, how many people are coming to the barbecue? And number 2, why do they need to buy fish? Be careful with how many people are coming. It's not very easy. Okay, so give me a moment. I'm going to find the listening and listen very carefully and remember those questions. How many people and why do they need to buy fish? Here we go.
Unit 5.
Okay, I'm back. All right, so let's go back to the presentation. All right, so hopefully, well, some of you heard that. I'm sorry if you couldn't hear any sound there. I don't know what the problem is. How many people are coming? We got 15, 15, 15. Yes, someone very, very precise there. Thank you. They said 10 or 12, but maybe a few more. So we need enough for 15. So I guess they need enough for 15 and they're not sure exactly. So well done, very attentive of you. Why do they need to buy fish? Why fish? Number 2. Any ideas? 4 people are typing. I can see the answers are coming. It's a longer answer, I know. Oh, yeah. It's barbecue. What about their friends? Why for vegetarians? Yes. It's kind of it's funny. The girl's attitude is kind of funny because he says they don't really eat fish. They do sometimes, but they don't want to. So she says, "Oh, we'll buy them fish." Okay. So I don't know. Maybe they're not such good friends. But yeah, you're right. It was for their vegetarian friends. Okay, so that was just a sample of the listening. But you can see it gives the students a good model with the quantifiers in place for when they do their productive task. Okay, so obviously all of that is about preparation because the students need preparation time before they do the task. So put this little bit of input, this little bit of extra input will give them some ideas of what they're going to say when they speak to their partners. And they carry it out. All right, so that's the idea at the end of the fast track route, and that's how a typical lesson goes. I want to show you a little bit about the extended route now. Remember, the extended route is extra skills lessons. That's what we're providing them with. The fast track route is the main body of the course, but there's these optional extra skills lessons you can give them. Now, as you can see, if we look back at the fast track route, this was the lesson we were looking at, and we look in the bottom corner of the last page, ta-da! This is how it links together. So we have developing your listening. Notice we're on page 43 of the textbook, but to go to the develop your listening skills lesson, you need to go to page 100. So you need to flip to the back of the book if you decide to do that route, if your students need that type of practice. And if we look at the lesson itself, notice it is thematically linked. It's the same theme. This listening lesson with lots of more listening texts is all about a food lovers festival. So it's all about food again, connected to the lesson they did before, and also just able to use it on its own if you decided to. If we look at the whole unit, look at each of these lessons from the fast track route. At the end of each section, we have a link to the extended route, giving them the skills lessons. So we have develop your writing, develop your reading, develop your listening, which you can pick and choose as you like. So fast track route and the extended route. Now, something else I need to tell you about that is available through RoadMap and available through all of these Pearson products. I mentioned it at the beginning. It's My English Lab, okay? My English Lab, to give you a little more information about it, is like an online learning platform which is available wherever your students are. As long as they have a laptop, a tablet, or a mobile phone and connection to the internet, they can be improving their English. And in the simplest form, I guess it's an online workbook. So the traditional paper workbook, well, here it's all online, and all of the results are recorded there and collated. What also they have, as well as just a workbook, they have instant results from the exercises they do. They also have access to audio files. They have access to listening. They can also even do some speaking on this platform too. The plus is also, as a teacher, you can check up on your students. You can see their progress just by logging into your My English Lab account, and you can see what they're having trouble with and what you might want to concentrate on with them. It might actually help you decide whether to use some of the extended route lessons too, to improve some of those areas. So My English Lab is available RoadMap, and it's a great addition to any course, particularly at the moment as we're all working online, as I am too. So think about My English Lab. It could come in handy a little bit down the road if quarantine stays around for a little longer, or happens again, I guess. Something else, one other thing that's important, RoadMap comes with a lot of online materials available for the teacher. As you can see here from the login screen from this edition of RoadMap, there are, of course, videos. Now, what I wanted to do before we finish today is show you an example of one of the RoadMap videos. So that's what we're going to focus on, because RoadMap has some really high quality videos showing authentic English, showing people speaking real English in England on the street, for example, okay? So it's not actors in this case. We're going to look at a video with some real people. All right, and the title, I'm trying to stay on the same topic. So we're going to look at a vegan food stall in London. So I just want to give you an example. Let me just find the video, and I'll let you enjoy it for a few minutes.
Hello there, it's Sally Williams, your RoadMap reporter here. Today I'm in Soho in central London. It's nearly lunchtime and I'm getting a bit hungry. There's so much to choose from here. I could have a simple sandwich or a plate of pasta, but today I fancy something completely different. So I'm off to a stall called Greenbox, and what they sell is
Okay, so just a sample there. I don't want to show you the whole video. It's quite long. You'll have to check it out in the future. Okay, so yeah, you can see it's authentic, a real guy on the streets of London giving some information about his food stall. Okay, so there are some of the videos. There's a video connected to each unit in each book. And of course, you can't just do the videos without any language work. And again, you've got the option of doing some flexible lessons here, because there are lots of worksheets available so they can learn something from the videos too. Really engaging because they're authentic, and lots of English you can take away from them also. Right, so let's just sum up now, okay? So what does RoadMap give you? If you remember, it's a flexible course, definitely. I hope you've seen how flexible it is. It's quite unique in the way it approaches this with the fast track route and the extended route, giving you the option of which lessons to teach. All of the lessons being standalone. You can pick and choose the lessons you'd like to use depending on your students' needs. It's engaging, I think. There's look at the video. I think it's really interesting. All of the topics are things that will get your students talking. A lot of the lessons are centered on speaking. Even the other skills lessons, they're going to be communicating and giving their opinions on different topics, which is what adults want to do in class. It's easy to prepare. When we looked at the format of the lesson, this is repeated in lessons A, B, and C. So as a teacher, you open the book, you always know how it's going to progress. It's just each time the material is a little bit different, but the progression of the lesson remains the same. So I think 3 top reasons why RoadMap is a good choice for your class. The slogan for RoadMap actually is every class is different and every learner is unique. And I think this brings us back to what I was saying right at the beginning about this is totally true for our adult students. When you're teaching a class like I did with an 18-year-old student and a 70-year-old student, you need some flexibility and you really need to take on board this kind of philosophy that everyone is different and unique and has different needs from us as teachers.